Family and Consumer Science.
Mr. Greenland's podcast.
Let's learn facts.
Feet on the floor, back straight, never bow to your plate. Chew with your mouth closed, chew with your mouth closed. Get your elbows off the table.
Hello. Mr. G here, Family Consumer Science Television. Today, it's all about bread. Let's grab a piece of paper. Let's number it 1 through 40. If you're one of my students, we're going to be handing this in. If you're watching this, and I'll take the first 5 people that complete this very easy worksheet and bring it down to the station here, Manchester Public Access on Canal Street, and you will win a special prize, a special prize. Let's write across the top of that paper. Let's write on there, on the left-hand side, first name, last name, and today's date, and write on the top of that paper, write down the title of this paper. It's going to be called, and I'll say it slow. Ready? Here we go. The Basic Grateful Bread Recipe Video Paper. All right. The Basic Grateful Bread Recipe and Video Paper. Here we go. 1 through 50. We're going to name it. We got a half an hour. We're going to talk about bread. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the recipe for bread, okay? Turn the paper over or find a little spot on your paper, and here is the Basic Grateful Recipe. You need just a few basic ingredients, and we should be grateful to be able to put a few grateful things in a recipe and make some bread. And here's what we're going to do first. Write this down, please. Write this down. 2 3/4 cups of flour through a sifter into a mixing bowl. 1/2 teaspoon salt, an anti-rising agent, salt. Mix that together, set that aside. Get yourself 8 ounces of warm water at 110 degrees. That's right, I said 110 degrees warm, not hot. The yeast needs a nice warm place to grow. Get yourself some active live yeast, available just about anywhere. Put in a tablespoon of active live yeast, which we know is 1/2 of a fluid ounce, or usually 1 packet if you buy them in the packets of yeast, and put that yeast into at least a 2-cup measurer or 2-cup mixing bowl. You're going to have 8 ounces of warm water into that larger mixing bowl. Take that tablespoon of yeast, sprinkle all over it. Then take the secret weapon, a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and sprinkle that all over the yeast and stir, and you will see bubbles and little clumps starting to happen. That's the magic of bread when the yeast ferments and starts growing carbon dioxide. Take that water and the yeast and sugar, put it on top of your stove, right in the center, not on a burner, but right in the center. Put that yeast right there. Turn on your oven to 400 degrees bake and let that yeast grow. The yeast is going to grow. It's going to start bubbling. You're going to get carbon dioxide, bubbles. And the idea of what you're making bread, all it is you want to get that bubble that's happening in that water and that yeast. It's going to froth up. It's going to look like root beer bubbles. You want that to get as much as you can. About 10 to 15 minutes later, you want to get those small bubbles into that sifted flour and salt, which is an anti-rising agent, into the flour. And you want to get that together so the bubbles in that yeast grows out and forms a beautiful piece of bread. We're also going to need 2 tablespoons of oil. 2 tablespoons of oil because we need some oil to help things stretch. We have to stretch it out. Then you're going to do what's called kneading. You need to knead your bread. You need to knead your bread where you're going to take that dough and you're going to fold it, push it down very easily, and it will push it down and it will come together in a beautiful, round, fluffy, kind of like, if you remember Play-Doh. Soft Play-Doh. It should be nice and soft, your dough ball. That takes about 5 or 10 minutes to knead it. You're pushing it down, you're folding it over, you're incorporating the flour and yeast together. Add your oil at the same time. And then you're going to take that dough ball, put it back into the mixing bowl that you originally had the flour and salt in, and let it proof. The proof is in the proof. Another double meaning word. The proof is in the proof, and proofing basically means you're going to take that dough, put some saran wrap over the top of it or a warm towel, put that on your stove top again where that yeast used to be hanging out, and it's going to proof up. If all is well, the dough will double in size, what I like to call it. It will pop, and it will get big real quick without putting it in the oven. Just the energy of that yeast and the fermentation will start popping. Give it as long as you can. In my class, we do it in 90 minutes. Boy, if you got a couple hours, let that thing just proof up. Big, big, big. Take that out. Cut it up into whatever size you like. Twists, braids, pretzels, breadsticks, little dinner rolls. Cut them on up. Put them back. Put them on a baking sheet. Put that baking sheet now again in what's called a double proof. We're going to put that right on the bread. We're going to put that bread right on the stovetop, my imaginary stovetop here with the imaginary bread. And you're going to let that proof up again in the shape now of the bread itself. Super easy. Oven's at 400. Before you put it into the oven, you have some options. Your options are such things as, if you want to just leave it in the oven in about 10 minutes, so it looks golden brown on the bottom, brush it with some butter when it comes out super soft. Mr. G, I want to put something on top of my bread. Okay, little brush it with olive oil before it goes in the oven. Before it goes into the oven, and sprinkle something savory over that. Garlic, onions, whatever you want. The sky's the limit of what you want to put on there. Mr. G, I want to put some sweet rolls on there. What am I going to do then? Well, you can't put butter on by itself right away before it goes in the oven. That goes on after. But if you make it a 50-50 blend of butter, melted butter, and some olive oil, then you can brush it on. And then you can put some cinnamon and sugar mixture or whatever kind of sweetness you want to put on there and put it in there. Mr. G, I want to make like an egg bread. What am I going to do? Nice and yellow, like a challah bread or a scala bread. Just crack an egg. Take a brush and brush it on. And then put it in the oven with maybe some seasonings on top. There it is. That's what bread's all about. Bread's been around for a long, long, long time. Long time. Now it's time to review and ask the questions. Question number 1, what is the ideal temperature of a liquid when activating yeast? A, 100 to 110 degrees. B, 212 degrees. Question number 2, what gas is produced when activating yeast? A, carbon dioxide. B, gas prices. D, propane gas. Question number 3. Wow, we're moving fast like making bread. Question number 3. What is the purpose of oil? What is the purpose of oil in your bread recipe? A, to help it stretch and give it pliability. B, to help the dough rise. C, it does nothing at all. Question number 4. Define sifting. Sifting. A, filtering, screening, and straining the lumps out of flour. B, to melt the flour. C, move on over. I'm taking a nap while my bread is proofing. Number 5, define kneading. We talked about kneading. Is it A, incorporating ingredients by pushing down, folding over several times until it's a nice, even, soft dough ball? Or is it kneeling down and hoping that everything comes out well? Question number 6. What is proofing? Is it A, showing that you're a poor cook, B, cooking, letting bread rise without cooking it, letting it rise pre-cook? Number 7, changing moisture in the air can cause the need for more or less oil. A, false. B, true. Question number 8 in our bread extravaganza. What will happen if your water is too hot or too cold if you're trying to activate the yeast? What will happen if it's too hot or too cold? A, the yeast will be perfect. B, the yeast will not activate or activate very, very slowly. Question number 9. Number 9. Temperature over 40 degrees is known as the what? A good temperature to take a nap in. B, the food danger zone. Question number 10. What are the 5 basic ingredients in cooking and basic Grateful Dead, Grateful bread? What's the 5 basic ingredients? A, flour, dirt, salt, candy, and rocks. B, flour, salt, oil, liquid, and yeast. Number 11. What is the difference between a pizza and a calzone? A pizza is usually hot and spicy, where a calzone is usually sweet and savory. Or B, a calzone is a folded over pizza with the crust all the way around, whereas a pizza is open-faced. Number 12. When an oven is set on bake, the heat source is coming where? A, from the top. B, from the bottom. Question number 13. More oil is needed to form pizza dough. Kind of makes sense. A, true. A, false. B, true. Go with B on that one. Question number 14. Butter should be brushed on bread after it comes out of the oven so the butter will not burn. A, false. B, true. Question number 15. What is gluten? You always hear gluten this, gluten that. It's not that big of a deal. Is it A, eating too much, or B, proteins found in wheat related to grains, rye, and other wheats? There's nothing bad with gluten either. Some people just eat too much of it or have a gluten allergy. But gluten kind of gets... I don't want to go off on a tangent. I want to continue on for our quest for knowledge. Number 16, what is the basic ratio? The basic ratio to activate yeast. A, 15 ounces of cold water, tablespoon of yeast, 2 pounds of sugar. B, 8 ounces of warm water at 110 degrees, tablespoon of yeast, tablespoon of sugar. 17. Truth. There are 8 ounces in a cup. A, false. B, true. Number 18. Yeast produces carbon dioxide that helps yeast dough inflate. A, true. B, false. Gotta love that carbon dioxide. Better than carbon monoxide. Number 19. Salt can be used as an anti-rising agent when making bread. A, true. B, false. Number 20. Clean does not mean sanitary. A true, B false. Okay, that's the end of, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll do 20 to 40, depending how we're doing. You guys are doing great. Let's get a little bit of bread. We'll be right back. Okay, I guess we're back. Number 21. How many ounces are in a cup? Did I hear 8? You're correct. Number 22. How many ounces is a teaspoon? Did you say 0.33? You are correct. Number 23. How many ounces are in a tablespoon? Here's a hint. A half an ounce. 24. What is the correct internal temperature of most foods to kill off most bacteria? Number 25. Number 25. Number 25. I'm holding hot foods. What temperature should I hold hot cooked foods under? What temperature? Number 26. 110 degrees is significant in two things that we've talked about in culinary. What are they? Number 27. What temperature should the last stage of a dishwasher come to? What temperature? Number 28. What is the boiling point of water? Number 29. What temperature does water simmer? Number 30. At half a cup is how many ounces? Number 31. FBI, besides meaning Federal Bureau of Investigation, what does it mean in the world of family consumer science and culinary? Number 32. 32 to 41 degrees is a significant number when holding foods. How is it significant? And what appliance in your house should be set between 32 and 41 degrees? Number 33. Define the food danger zone. Number 34. What is the French term mise en place mean? Number 35. How many cups are in a pint? Number 36. How many tablespoons equal a cup? That's a teaser. I'd go 16. How many tablespoons are in a half a cup? Number 38. Hot holding foods. I want to hold some foods. All right, here's a repeat. Hot holding foods. I wrote that down twice. Big number though if you want to holding some hot foods. 135 degrees. And how long can I hold food that is out of the food danger zone? How many hours? Number 40. Name 3 food poisonings and how they develop. Number 41. What does FACS stand for? F-A-C-S. What's it stand for? 42. 42. 42 is write down the bread recipe, which you already should have written down earlier in this episode. 43. 43. Okay, so 43. Let's stop at 43. And we're going to end this by me going to give you a quick, delightful poem or story. Once upon a time, there was bread. And after I do this, 42 to 50 will be, please, in your own words, in a few sentences, let's say minimum of 15 words, hope you don't get writer's cramp, what is the history of bread? Okay? So I'm going to go through this, read this, right off of our famous ChatGPT, which, boy, good and bad, but I think it's just a. Now, I'm not going to get going on ChatGPT. It's just a great tool. If we use it as a tool, it's great. Here we go. And I knew this about bread, and I even learned something. Here we go. Bread ancestry begins with the domestication of grains like wheat, barley, and crescent rolls in Middle Day East. Early humans made flat bread by grinding it to flour, mixing it in water, and cooking it on hot stones. Around 3000 BCE, the ancient Egyptians liked to first to develop leavening bread. They discovered that leaving it out in the natural air, the air would ferment it, causing the bread to rise. The innovation led to softer, more flavorful bread. Mesopotamia and Egypt, breads became a staple when baked in clay ovens. In Egypt, bread played an essential role in society and religion, offering God and using as currency. But let me tell you that in Greece, in 1000 BCE and 5000 CE, the Greeks refined the bread making, interesting new shapes and flavors. Romans further innovated with milling techniques and public bakeries, spreading culture across the empire. But right around medieval bread, 500 to 15 CE bread diversified in medieval Europe. Dark, coarse bread made of rye, barley was common for peasants. White bread from refined wheat was really reserved for the wealthy. Say what? That's right. In sourdough and other fermentations method continued to evolve. But in the 19th century, mechanisms revolutionized bread making. Mills produced finer flours and commercial yeast replaced natural fermentation, allowing for a more consistent bread. You heard what I said, consistent bread, and large-scale bakeries emerged, making bread more widely acceptable. Modern bread in the 20th century, innovations like sliced bread in 1928 and enriched flour became the standard. Artisan bread making and whole grain varieties have seen resurgence, blending ancient techniques with modern preferences. Thus, the bread's ancestry reflects humanity's agricultural and technology revolution, making it one of the most and enduring foods in U.S. history. Can I get a bread? Can I get a bread? I want to say, be thankful, be grateful, make some grateful bread. Wow. I want to thank everybody at Manchester Public Television. And I also want to thank all the great producers, artists, musicians, just everybody involved in this creative community that is public access television. I enjoy watching all your shows. The people, and I know a lot of people really love a lot of the political stuff the creative stuff we have on, the music stuff we have on, and I hope you get a kick out of Family and Consumer Science Television. Go home, make some grateful bread. If you bring that in with you, bring it to the studio. The secret's out. What do you think you're gonna get for a prize? I will make you a homemade loaf of bread for a prize of bringing it down here to Manchester Public Access. To my students, hand that paper in. Let the fun begin. Be grateful, make some bread. This is Mr. G, Family Consumer Science Television. We'll see you next time.
Family and Consumer Science.
Mr. Greenland's podcast.